Hello and welcome. It is I, Iron Raiden, back yet again with another new topic of discussion. I had actually did a video previously about this movie and how I feel about it. And now that since it's released, now full disclosure, I have not actually seen the film for myself yet, so there is that. So no harping on me about saying, "Oh, you didn't even see it," blah blah blah. No, I'm not here to just strictly hate, but I'm here to just definitely bring up some points and what I'm seeing pretty consistently from the reviewers that I usually go to and whatnot is that this film, this Uncharted film, clearly missed the mark. And it's one of those things to where, to be perfectly fair about it, when you have a game that's already hit such peak levels of really giving you that cinematic feel when you're playing it, when it really is a nice, just character driven and just action oriented and all that good stuff, when you get all of that in a nice video game package, something that's very much like a modern day Indiana Jones in video game form, then that is all well and good. And I understand that when you already have something that's so well done, just strictly as a video game, that trying to translate that to screen makes it that much harder because you feel like they've already practically perfected the formula just on that scale. So what can you really do to make it work in theatrical form? And I understand it's a nice balance you probably have to find there, where you have to either take a blend of what's already been done story wise in the games, but also kind of doing your own thing. Like, do you just do a straight up remake of the first game? Do you just completely take in a different direction, just new plot, just new story, whatever? What do you do? I understand that can be kind of tricky to try to figure out because, I mean, some could even say, it's like, do you even really need to do a movie when you already have the games there doing that? No, not really, but all this stuff is inevitable. It's always going to happen at some point in time, especially for something like that. I mean, it's not surprising that they would eventually find a reason to adapt the Uncharted franchise into a film franchise. But man, they just really missed the mark by going teenage Nathan Drake with Tom Holland. And again, I already know they already have Tom Holland under their belt with Sony and Spider-Man. And like I said, I get how you can look at him as a young Nathan Drake. I get it. And I saw what they were trying to do. But damn it, man. I'm like, really? Like, I still feel like this was just handed to you on a silver platter. You easily, all you had to do was just try. Just actually try to adapt this and make it work, because this could have been a huge franchise. I mean, you look at the games again, you play them, you get immersed in them, you love the characters, Nathan Drake, Sully, Elena, Chloe, all these great characters, just so likable. I'm like, this easily could have been a huge, actual, legitimately, like a legitimate franchise where not just the video game fans themselves, but you get everyone else on board, be like, oh, this is great. It really is modern day Indiana Jones. That's all it comes down to. And like I said, I know it can be tricky to find that right balance, but it can be done. Any and all concepts can work. It all depends on how it's executed and if all the right pieces are in place. But the direction that they took with this is clearly they didn't even try. They did not try to, by going with a young teenage version of the character and just starting from there. I'm like, really? Is this really what we're going to try to do here? Yeah. I mean, because they already tried to get Mark Wahlberg to be him at one point in time, but I guess he just kind of grew out of the role a bit, and so figured, like, screw it, we're just going to go this way and we'll just make him Sully. Which, again, I understand if you like Mark Wahlberg or not. Be like, I'm fine with Mark Wahlberg. He's fine in the right roles. I mean, I do enjoy him in other bit roles, like stuff in like Departed or other things like The Fighter and stuff. I mean, he another film I feel like is kind of underrated. It's a fun film, I feel, is something like Four Brothers. Like, he can be cool, he can be badass, he can be funny. He can, like, in stuff like Ted. It just all depends on the particular role for him. He's not the greatest actor, he's not the worst, but he's fine in his own right. And of course, Tom Holland, good, solid young actor. And like I said, I could see how he could be that young version. But for this, I'm like, this is just the worst direction you could have gone in. And so it's just, again, just a huge missed opportunity than anything. It's just another mediocre mess. I pretty much said myself, I'm like, at best, it's probably going to be like, yeah, it was all right. It's a good like little matinee film I can go to, just kill a couple hours and have fun with it. But then I'm gonna forget about it, just within a day's time. And it seems like it's basically that, if not worse, for some people. Just saying they just completely missed the mark as far as the characters, as far as the casting, all of that. And I'm just put forth a little bit more effort, just a little bit more effort. This could have been a huge franchise on film. It really could have been. It really could have been. Like I said, you play the games, you see all the potential as to how that could have worked. I mean, there's just other possibilities you could have gone with, but they decided to not do that. And I know people pick Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake, and I get that. I absolutely do. I even saw the little short that he did and everything. I'm like, I get it, but he's kind of past his prime in that, to where I feel like, I mean, unless you do something post Uncharted 4, but before the epilogue of that game, if you've played and you know what I'm talking about, where you probably could have done a little bit older post that or something, maybe that could have made sense. But if you wanted to go like where he's at his peak and everything, I just feel like he's just kind of past his prime. He's a bit too old for that. And I said another underrated choice for me personally would have been Brett Dalton, probably mostly known from like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Again, young, charismatic, charming actor. He was in a video game as well, Until Dawn, with people like Hayden Panettiere and what's his name, Rami Malek. Things like that. I feel like he's got the look. I know he's not a big name actor, but I felt like he would have been a good balanced choice as someone who looks like the part, who's age appropriate for the part, and who has enough charm and charisma to have carried that part. That's what I would have done. But of course, that would have been probably less likely to have happened, unless they did maybe a series or something. And maybe that's the way they could have gone. But either way, it just is a huge wasted opportunity. When you look in the past for things like Indiana Jones, like hell, maybe you should have just gotten Steven Spielberg. But you look at the past for films like that, and you look at the video games, and of course all the other lazy, half-assed attempts at adapting these into film. But something like this, where this is probably one of the biggest, most cinematic of all the ones they've tried to adapt, where it just seems like, okay, it's right there. It is all right there, and it seems just easy to do. Just take this, tweak a little bit here to make it work, and it's like you're good to go. But it just is such a thrown out there, lazy, wasted opportunity, to where this really could have been a grander thing, where this actually could have been a huge franchise for both the fans and for the general audience to have grasped onto, and to have seen sequel after sequel and adventure after adventure and all of that good stuff, because that's the way the games make you feel. And it's just, again, completely and utterly wasted. I'll watch it myself at some point in time. I'm not going to go out to the theater or pay the rent. Like a little bit later on, yeah, I might go ahead and check it out just out of sheer curiosity. I'm sure I'll have some fun with it, little bits here and there, and just try to take it for what it is. But I'm not going to sit there and just hand them over money willy-nilly at the theater and just been like, oh, you gave me the Uncharted adaptation, yay, Uncharted, and it's like, no, I'm not going to coddle your balls just because you did an adaptation of something. It's like, no, because clearly you didn't put forth the proper effort into actually making this something better. Again, you could have done something that benefited the fans as well as yourselves, but you just took this opportunity just to completely squander it and just waste everyone's time. But you know what? We could just end it right there. Why the hell not? So just giving my thoughts post-release of the Uncharted film and where I stand with that, and just, it's just this particular case, because I am a big fan myself. But that aside, again, you just look at what we were given with this franchise as a video game, and just thinking like how well and how easy it seems that could have been done. Like I said, I understand it could be tricky trying to find that balance of doing stuff that resembles the game and stuff that's come before, but trying to take it into a direction where it feels original enough. I understand that, but again, any of these things can be done if you tried, if the right pieces were in place, but clearly they did not. So that'll do it for this video. I am Iron Raven, and I am out.